You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
There just aren't many areas where the Oilers hold an advantage over the Stars, and it's hard to say that they're in any way the better team. Oh, wait, that's from last year's Western Conference Final preview. I wonder what happened in that series. Let's get into it with the lead. Welcome in, Oilers Nation Everyday, live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. From jerseys to hats to the legendary foam finger, you'll find it all and more at the Sports Closet. The show, as always, a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. And, of course, we're live on the Oilers Nation YouTube, where our chat is brought to you by Odd Company Brewing. You want a little holiday Monday fun day? How about the Richie location patio beer, Nation beer on tap? Come on, doesn't get any better than that. The pizza's delicious. Find Odd Company Brewing at one of their 2 locations in the Edmonton area. Hope everyone is enjoying their long weekend. Appreciate however amount of you are going to pop by and watch the show today. But come on, it's a holiday Monday. Who wants a day off when there's playoff hockey to be talked about? And that's exactly why Liam and I fired up the stream today. And Aaron. Aaron is working. Aaron's the only one who we made go into the office, though. Liam and I are at home.
We're at home, and I had a nice little sleep in today till 8:30, and I'm excited to play the most overrated team in hockey.
I love it. And you also have an article coming out where all you said is that Dallas is very overrated. I don't know what else you wrote in that article. We'll probably get some hints as we work through the show today. You mentioned that you slept in. I was so gassed last night. I fell asleep. I was in bed by 9. I fell asleep at like 9:15 last night, and I slept till 7:45 this morning. It was like an 11-hour sleep for me.
I went and saw the new Marvel movie yesterday. It was actually pretty good. I haven't been to the theater in a while. I'm usually watching at home, but I was tucked in bed at 11, watching a little bit of Gilmore Girls before the lights went out. It was a lovely Sunday evening.
How was farming this weekend?
Dry, very dry. I'm grateful for the rain we're expecting this week. I've been doing the farm now for probably I think this is my 3rd or 4th year, whatever it is, and I've never experienced such a dry planting day, Tyler. I'll tell you that much. It was kind of crazy, but we got carrots, beets, peas, black beans, squash, pumpkins. I'm missing one. I can't remember what it is, but we got lettuce? A variety of stuff in there. Lettuce, huh?
Corn?
Oh, yeah, corn. Lettuce at home. Lettuce in my home pots. And my greenhouse comes on Thursday.
Can you, maybe this is our summer content or a piece of summer content, whatever. Can we do Liam Makes a Salad Day for the boys at the office where you only use ingredients from your farm?
I think that'd be a great idea. Yeah, they won't be done in the summer, though. It won't be done till September. But I guess that is kind of still summer's content season. So, yes, I will gladly bring in some stuff. Maybe I can make some borscht.
A little homemade borscht. Waz would be a big fan, Liam.
He would be. I'm always here to try and please Waz.
All right. I see everybody or a bunch of people checking in over on the YouTube. Yanni is in and says, bring on the Finnish Mafia. The Finns per 60 in this conference final is absolutely through the roof in every series. And we'll talk about the other series as well today. We don't have a guest today. I know usually Mondays we have Louie, but we're going to do, I think, a double dose tomorrow with Lou Dog and another guest. So Louie will be on tomorrow. We're also going to talk about Louie a little bit in what's trending. But Liam, the big story from today is that the Oilers did skate down at Rogers Place, and maybe a little bit of lineup news. Let's get into it. A lineup report brought to you by our friends at Douglas. You heard me say a couple of seconds ago that I slept for 11 hours last night, and a big reason why is because my Douglas is just so comfy. Get yours today at douglas.ca/nation. Comfort, cooling gel, foam, whatever the reason is, whatever the science is that goes into these mattresses, I just know it works and I sleep good. You can get yours today starting at just $599 and free shipping across the country. So no matter where you are in Canada, you can get a Douglas shipped to you for free with their convenient mattress in a box technology. And also it's an industry leading 365-day trial period. If you don't love it, they will take it back from you at no extra cost. Liam, Matthias Ekholm, not only on the ice for the Edmonton Oilers, but a full participant in the Oilers skate. This from Tony Brar. Ekholm was out there with the main group for the first time in these Stanley Cup playoffs, and it's led to potentially some optimism that Matthias Ekholm could be back in the lineup sooner rather than later. You and I have always been big on the whole, we will believe it when we see it. Are we seeing it?
It looks like we're seeing it, which is awesome. Like I'm surprised he's looking the way he is. Obviously, once you start getting into contact and everything, it's a lot different, but it's hard not to be happy about what you're seeing here. What did they say? Like game 3 would be the best chance he could come into the lineup. Like I think he's going to need a few more days of practice. And of course, I would assume he goes on a trip. I know there was a bit of speculation if he did or not, but like, I think it's probably just good for him to be around everyone too. And maybe he just takes warm-ups one game just to kind of feel it out. I know Landeskog did that earlier in the playoffs too, right? Or was it the playoffs he did it? Yeah, he did.
It was.
And then played the next game. So maybe that's something to do. I, again, don't really know what the Oilers will do and who they'll take out. I mean, he's someone you obviously need to put into your lineup as soon as he's able to go. But this is, honestly, it feels like a miracle, to be honest. No, assuming what we know is like the injury, like I can't believe he's skating.
Me too. If the groin tear is as bad as it's kind of been rumbled and speculated on behind the scenes, then yeah, it's crazy. Bob Stauffer on Spit and Chicklets said they won't have Ekholm for the first 4 games, and we don't know if he's traveling or not. He kind of mentioned Stauffer. And again, like this, I don't think this was Bob reporting this by any means. I think it was more him just kind of speculating. But like, if it's the earliest is game 5 or 6, I bet you how this series plays out through the first 4 games will have a big impact on whether or not he plays in a game 5 or a game 6. Like if they're up 3-1 going to game 5 in Dallas, don't play him, right? Like don't let the Stars expose something on the matchups or whatever. If you're down 3-1 going to Dallas, maybe you do play him being like, we need a boost or something along those lines. So I think it's really dependent on how the series plays out and how these defensemen keep playing as well. Because Chris Knobloch in his press conference the other day had a lot of praise for John Klingberg, and that did not sound like a guy he wanted to take out of the lineup. And yeah, maybe they go 11-7 and you ease Ekholm into this, but also if Kapanen and Frederick play well, then you probably don't want to go 11-7 and pull one of those guys out of the lineup. So I don't think, like Gregor kind of said, doubtful that Ekholm travels, or Gregor said it's not likely he travels to Dallas. The only reason I could see him going to Dallas is if he's like, no, I want to start getting into the game day routine. I want to fly. Yeah. I want to get down there. I want to do pregame skates. I maybe even want to ramp myself up behind the scenes like I'm going to play and see how he responds to all that. Because, again, you can't just snap your fingers and drop a guy like that back in the lineup and say, all right, Matthias, 25 minutes tonight next to Evan Bouchard. Like, you need some amount of certainty that he can withstand the rigors of an NHL game day, going through warm-up, all of that stuff. So it's still a massive question mark for me. Spector saying that Ekholm was out there moving like a guy who is going to play in this round. Again, it's not going to be games 1 or 2. We'll see if it's game 5 or 6. We'll see if the Oilers even need him. Because again, Liam, like you said, I think this is a Dallas team that, similar to LA, similar to Vegas, man, people want to give them a ton of credit when comparing them to the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, and like I don't want it to be taken in the wrong way. That I do think they're a really, really good team, and they're going to be a tough test. But the Oilers have also faced, I think LA might have been the best team they've faced so far. I think LA might have been better than Vegas, just matchup-wise. I know, obviously, the history of Edmonton beating LA so much, but with this Dallas team, there's just a lot not going right for them at the same time. And I know how great Mikko Rantanen is and all that good stuff, but I just feel like the Oilers match up well against them in the departments that they need to match up well, like especially that goals against. Like if you look back to what happened in the conference finals last year, Dallas really had one game where they found their offense, and that was game 3, and they absolutely wiped the floor with the Oilers. The Oilers didn't look like they stood a chance in that series after that one. Obviously, they went up 2-1, but after that, the Oilers just completely shut down Dallas's offense and just went off on their own and went off and won the series and made it to the Stanley Cup final. And the Oilers offense is humming so much better than it has been in years past. I really do think this could be a 5-6 game series again.
Yeah, and that's a good point looking back at last series. Like Edmonton takes game 1 in double OT, the Connor McDavid winner against the Stars, and then they lose 3-1 in game 2. And then they come lose 5-3 in that game 3 back on home ice. And you're right, it wasn't a particularly close hockey game. I know the Oilers scored 2 in the first, but then it was just like Dallas poured it on after that. And I walked out of that building being like, they might not be able to solve Jake Ottinger all that much. And this Dallas team might just be way deeper than them. Like, it didn't have the same vibe as this Oilers team this year. And the way Edmonton flipped the switch, 5-2, 3-1, 2-1, and boom, they're out of that series in 6 games. It was stunning. And honestly, if Edmonton comes out of the gates and dominates Dallas early, hand up, I won't be stunned. Again, this Oilers team has left us very little reason to think that they're going to go get absolutely dominated by teams in these playoffs, because it's now been 9 straight hockey games where they've either been in a close game or they have dominated the other team. And you can go back through the series against LA. A couple of close games in there where it's like LA has a good front half, but Edmonton dominates in the back half. LA has a good period. Edmonton dominates them for 2. And again, it's very little reason to think that this is an Oilers team who is going to get steamrolled by Dallas. If Dallas wins, it's a long series. If Edmonton wins, I think this thing could end in any range of 5, 6, or 7. And if you're going to sit there and be like, Tyler, you're crazy, I predicted Edmonton in 5 over the Vegas Golden Knights. It was on the whiteboard at Oilers Nation HQ. Everyone would have called me crazy then, or I should say outsiders, non-believers, whatever. They would have been like, there's no way Edmonton's working. Look at the blue line. Look at the forward group. Look at how well Aiden Hill's playing. Everyone would have called you crazy for saying Oilers in 5 over the Golden Knights. I don't think it's insane to believe that the Oilers are the only team in this matchup who could make this a quick one.
I completely agree. Obviously, the big difference between the Dallas team this year and last year is Mikko Rantanen. And he's obviously been great for them in the playoffs. But he's also been like pretty streaky as well. Like, he'll go like 3 games where he'll put up like a ton of points and then he just absolutely disappears. It's also a Dallas team that has been shut out 3 times in the playoffs so far, which is the most by any team. And it blows my mind a little bit too that Winnipeg series, like they struggled against Winnipeg, a team that just like couldn't win on the road. And that's basically what happened in the difference in the series. Like, this Edmonton team is better than Winnipeg. They're significantly better than the Colorado Avalanche. And now I think that's why I strongly believe Edmonton will come away with this series again and make it to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals.
If I could give you a little number on that Finnish Mafia, that new look top line, because you mentioned Rantanen is obviously a big new face in this for this Dallas team, but Mikael Granlund's been excellent as well. So they've ran with the trio of Rantanen, Hintz, and Granlund for 120 minutes at 5-on-5 in these playoffs. 120 minutes, 5-on-5. They're outscoring the other team 7-2, and it's like, man, are they ever dominant? In that stretch, though, the expected goals do not favor them. So despite the fact that they're scoring 77% of the actual goals, 77.7%, the expected goals for percentage is only 47%, Liam. Like, you can look, their PDO's north of 1.1 as a trio. They are scoring on all their shots, and Jake Ottinger is stopping a lot of rubber when that trio is on the ice. Again, they are very good. This is not me telling you that they aren't capable of taking over games and wins, but to the point you just made, they're all known as being relatively streaky players, especially Granlund and Rantanen in these playoffs. It was early on in that Colorado series. Like, we kind of forget the last 2 games flipped our narrative in that series. There was a lot of talk early on that it's like, boy, Colorado is deep. That Rantanen trade is working out very well for them because look at how good players like Natchez and Drury have allowed them to spread things out, and Landeskog's back, and it's all going to be all Avs. And then Rantanen had 2 amazing games and took over that series, and he deserves full marks for that. But it flipped the narrative, and it turned everyone into, look at Colorado. How could they trade that guy? Blah, blah, blah. But through a couple of games in that series, that was not the case.
No, it wasn't. We all thought Colorado up 2-0 in that series.
And
I know the reason
1-1, but they dominated.
1-1. Yeah, so there you go. And another reason why the Dallas Stars shouldn't be underestimated by any means. But again, you asked me to do some research, Tyler, so I did it. When you look through that lineup, like outside of that top line, Wyatt Johnston and Tyler Seguin are the only guys that have more than 1 goal in the playoffs. And Wyatt Johnston had 1 goal against the Winnipeg Jets in that series. Duchesne doesn't have a goal. Robertson doesn't have a goal. I know he's been missed time, but then you look through as well. Jamie Benn 1 goal, Marchman 1 goal, Steele 1 goal, Dadonov 1 goal. Like, the depth outside of that top line just isn't producing. And obviously they have Alex Petrovic there, former Oiler, third line left wing. They're obviously not playing him there, and Rantanen and the other guys are getting a few more shifts, but still, like, he has as many goals as Jamie Benn does in the playoffs. Like, that should be a sign of where this Dallas team is at. Again, their blue line is legit. Guys like Harley and Mira Heiskanen's getting better, but the numbers are very, very similar to what they were last year coming into this series, if not worse offensively for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, Marvin says in the chat, you realize these games aren't played on paper, though, LOL. Buddy, we're talking about results from the last 2 rounds. I'm not talking about lining them up on paper and going, this guy's better than this guy's better than this guy. Because guess what? That's what Dallas Stars fans were doing over the weekend, and it was pretty ugly. I don't know if you saw that one post. My jaw was on the floor. It was some star. There it is. McDavid gets 1 greater than compared to Hintz. Okay. Nuge better than Granlund. Honestly, that one, Granlund, it's probably even. Rantanen better than Hyman, sure. Duchesne greater than Draisaitl? What the hell are you talking about? Ben better than Podkolzin, sure. Sagan better than Gavin, whatever. Johnson and Henrique, okay. But all of those guys for Dallas are underperforming right now. Connor Brown equaled the Dadonov. I don't know if you've been watching the playoffs. Again, Perry, whatever, only 11 forwards for Dallas. That's weird. And then even on the blue line, some of the plus minuses he gave here, especially towards the bottom, I don't see at all. And then I love too, again, McDavid to Hintz was only the 1 little sign. Skinner, Pickard, Ottinger was 7 greater. Anyway, this guy was clearly trolling or something. I don't know. But the point is, if you look at it linear like that, maybe you can give a lot of edges to the Dallas Stars, but I also sit there and go, when you actually look at the way these guys are playing right now and how they work as a collection of pieces, I'm not sure how many plus or minuses there are for the Dallas Stars. So I kind of did that earlier today for Oilers Nation, and you can read the article over on the site. I did an 1,100-word preview of this series, and I kind of said, star power in terms of the forwards, it's still advantage Edmonton. You take McDavid and Draisaitl over Rantanen and Hintz every day of the week. The forward depth, when you look at how they're performing, and I know you said you did some research, we'll get into the numbers a little bit later with some stats and facts, but it's advantage Edmonton still. Top end defenseman, advantage Dallas. Depth defenseman, weirdly enough, advantage Edmonton this year. And people were saying, oh, the Stars aren't playing 4D man like they did last year. Buddy, they might have to in this series. Again, talk about that later. Goaltending, yes, big advantage Dallas. Power play, call it a coin flip, because while Dallas is playing much, much better right now, traditionally Edmonton's power play is due to wake up from their slumber at some point here. And then the penalty kill is a big advantage for Dallas because Edmonton's has been awful this year. But it's tight. When you look at the way things are on paper, it's very, very tight. And again, we'll get to it in a second. There's an order to how we're doing the show today. But Liam, you're going to point out that on paper, this series looks tight. When you look at how these two teams have played the last 3 weeks, it might not be that close. But let's put a pin in the Oilers Stars conversation, Liam, and do a little bit of playoff talk from around the league for our friends at Boston Pizza. We entered the weekend with 3 Canadian teams alive. We start our Monday with just 1. If we are going to end this 32-year streak, Canada, it's all on Edmonton. This year, we bring it home with Boston Pizza. If you believe it, the parade could happen. And if there is going to be a parade happening north of the border this year, it's happening in the River Valley in Edmonton. Shout out to our friends at Boston Pizza. I pulled off the great vet move this weekend with Amber out of town. I ordered my 2 large pizzas, and it fed me for basically the whole weekend. It was tremendous stuff. Shout out to our friends at BP's. Liam, playoff talk from the weekend. Let's start with Dallas and Winnipeg. Man, what an emotional night in Dallas as Mark Scheifele. I mean, the passing of his father suddenly overnight, the fact that guy found it in him to play, the fact he scored and we're like, oh my God, we're getting this storybook sports moment. And then the fact it ends with him in the penalty box. And I mean, you see this between him and Jamie Benn. That's 2 guys who were at each other's throats all series. And then you kind of see in the handshake line that it's bigger than that with these 2 guys. It was something with Scheifele. I don't even know how to put it into the proper words.
I don't know if there is proper words really to discuss it. It's the courage he showed to go and play that game and to get the goal. I think everyone, I'm sure even Dallas in the back of their minds afterwards were like, man, I wish he wasn't the one in the box that we had to go and score that overtime series winner against too. But I think Jamie Benn came out to the media yesterday or whenever it was and just said, just told him how courageous he was to be out there and how much respect he had for him. And obviously so sorry for what happened. And yeah, unbelievable stuff from Mark Scheifele as well. Just awful news.
Also, Stars fans, remember last year they raised a ton of money for the Ben Stelter Foundation?
Yeah.
They just like went out on their own accord. Stars fans raised over $30,000 for different charities by donating $55 to those causes in honor of Mark Scheifele and obviously his dad Brad, who passed away. And then the Stars owner apparently chartered Mark Scheifele back to his home in Kingston so that Scheifele could go right back to being home and wouldn't have to fly back with the Jets and go to Winnipeg, then find a way to get to Kingston. So I thought that was, again, just really, really classy. Shows you the best of the hockey world at times when maybe we don't always see the best of the hockey world, but didn't want that to go unsaid the way Mark Scheifele played. He had a game-high 9 hits in that hockey game, scored the Jets' only goal. It was something, man. And from just a purely hockey perspective in that series, Connor Hellebuck was good in Game 6. Finally, he plays his first good road game of the playoffs. Too little, too late, man. You had to play that good in games 3 or 4 if you wanted to give your team an authentic shot.
Yeah, I can't believe how quickly he just falls apart in the playoffs. It's so interesting. Like an 866 for a guy that is, people were talking about could beat Leon Draisaitl out to win the Hart Trophy this year. And he's an incredible goalie, obviously, but somehow, even with 2 shutouts and 866 save percentage, it's amazing. I wish Winnipeg would have extended the series and won, because that would have been an easier task, which is a nuts thing to say.
Yeah. Let's go to Toronto and Florida, Liam. The Toronto Maple Leafs, after all their fans write them off, they go win 2-0 shutout victory in Game 6. They force a 7th game, and you're thinking, man, maybe this Leafs team's got a little bit of magic in them. And then they fall hilariously flat on their face. They put forth basically no effort, and they get throttled for a second straight home game. 6-1. Was that back-to-back 6-1 losses for the Toronto Maple Leafs in their final 2 home games? They caved, they quit, and that core 4, listen, I think it gets over-exaggerated a little bit how much of this is on them, because I do think there have been years in the past where the roster wasn't as good, where there were outside circumstances from just those 4 players that hurt them. But you can't be sitting here, -2, -2, -3, -1, losing 6-1 again, 9th season. You flail out of the playoffs and don't even make the 3rd round. Like, never forget, or like, never mind winning the damn thing or getting to the conference final or making the cup final. They can't get out of round 2 for a 9th straight season. It was an embarrassing effort from that entire team. And every narrative that we had pushed towards us about how this Leafs team is different, they got winners. They have 3 guys from the Florida Panthers last year on their team, and they went and got Craig Berube, who's this hard-nosed coach who won't stand for bad efforts in the playoffs. LOL.
Yeah, they're just inevitable, aren't they? Like, I don't need any, like, I never have them coming out of the first round when I do brackets. It just seems, I know they made it to the second this year, but it's just such a lock to know at some point they're just gonna fall apart, and that's exactly what they did. And I do think they're over scrutinized in many ways. I do think this is a good team. At the end of the day, I know the scoreline looks terrible, but they did push it to 7 against the team that's been to the Stanley Cup final back-to-back years. Obviously, the current Stanley Cup champions. Their starting goalie, what, he get injured in Game 1, Game 2, whatever. Yep. They pushed it 7 with a backup goalie, essentially. I know Wall's good, but you're right in the Stars. Like, you need your best players to show up. There was obviously the clip of Mitch Marner, who was visibly upset, telling people to wake up and get going, and people were making fun of him because he didn't look sweaty. It's like, well, if he doesn't look sweaty and he's not doing it, you're pissed at him anyway. So why don't you just let the guy show a bit of emotion? Like, someone who I think actually wears the jersey in a lot of pride, obviously someone from that area, but a player I also understand why fans get frustrated with. But I'd take Mitch Marner on my team any day of the week. He's such a good player. It's just, I think he's in a terrible environment. Toronto would be the last team in the league I would ever want to play for.
I get it. I see, like I agree with you on the sentiment of that Marner clip going viral for the wrong reasons, where it's like, okay, if he sits there and just looks lifeless on the bench, you roast him being like, where's your passion? Where's your care? Then he shows that he cares and you're yelling at him. But at the end of the day, you have to be productive. If you want to be a $10+ million guy in this league, you need to produce in the playoffs. You can be a 90+ point, great defensive player all regular season. I get it. You can yell at your teammates. You can show the passion. But like, if you want to be a $10 million plus guy, you need to be damn near perfect. And they're just so far from even average in these big games. Like Gregor, I love this tweet. Leafs are now 0-6 in Game 7 since 2018. In those 6 games, Matthews has no goals and 3 assists, -4, only 19 shots on goal. Marner, no goals, 2 assists, -7, only 13 shots on goal. Nylander's the only one who shows up some of the time, 2-2-4 and 13 shots on goal, but he's -4. Tavares, in 4 of the games that he's played, just has the 1 goal, no assists, he's -6. In their last 5 game sevens, the Leafs have scored 1 goal every single time. Something's got to give there, man. There has to be a big change. And yes, I agree with you that the core 4 is at times over scrutinized in Toronto.
Mhm.
But let me just also say, like what you said, and maybe this is where I'll disagree with you, the idea that like it's the last place you'd ever want to play because of all the outside noise. There's a lot of outside noise in Edmonton, man. There's a lot of outside noise in Vancouver. There's a lot of outside noise in every single big market. And the idea that these players deserve some sympathy, which is what the Florida Panthers players are giving them right now, being like, oh man, like Matt Tkachuk on Chicklets is like, if there's any other player who, or if those players were in any other environment, they'd be a great team. No, they wouldn't, man, because at some point, it doesn't matter what the jersey is. You show who you truly are. And I think after 3-4 years, you could sit there and go, okay, there were some outside circumstances with the Leafs, and it's not always on the core 4. And through 5-6 years, you could say the fact it's been 9 years of these guys, and they just drop the ball at every turn. It's not like they're like Ovi, where they found a way to get through once, and maybe they need more time like Ovi did, but at least you could look at Ovi in those playoffs and be like, well, the Capitals lost. Ovi scored 8 goals in the series, and they just lost 7-6 in a couple games. Like, you can't point to one instance where those guys came through and were big for their team in a clutch moment. Maybe that one Game 6 win against Tampa, but then they got swept the next round, so it didn't even matter. Like, I don't know, man. I'm torn on it because I think truth always lies in the middle. Like, it's not all on the core 4, but it's definitely not all not on them, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But at some point, if these guys were truly great players who were meant to be winners and who were wired to be winners, at some point they would have found a way to do it for their team.
I agree. I don't think they hate losing enough. I think that's a good way to put it. Like, they just kind of not content with it. I think everyone hates losing, but like they haven't had that feeling of really losing in like a desperate moment. Like Game 7, round 1 is whatever, but like I don't know. Like I just can't think of any other place in the league where your team is getting booed off the ice and jerseys are getting thrown on. Like series don't end in 5 games. It seems like Toronto fans forgot all about that, and I just think the loyalty to the players was just lost so much in this series. And I think who's the Tree Living's GM, right? That's his name. And I know everyone talks about Shanahan, but he's got a big task ahead of him this summer with Marner and Tavares potentially both going.
Brendan Shanahan doesn't have a contract yet for next season.
Yeah, he should probably go.
You should probably just put your hand up and be like, you know what? Don't think I'm the right guy for this one. I'm out. Or they should just fire him. But here's the offseason look. No first-round pick. $26 million in cap space. You need to sign 7 players. So, like, you grab a couple of league min guys, but, like, Matthew Nyes is probably going to take up $7 million of that. So then you have $20 million to sign probably 5 more players. Bring, again, couple of league min guys. So maybe you have $18 million to sign 2 guys, but do you have to give 7 of that to Tavares? And then Marner leaves. And even if you're sitting there, Liam, with $11 million in cap space and 1 player to go out and you can splurge big, maybe they'll go sign Sam Bennett and they'll do that whole song and dance. But like, I don't know, man. I have a hard time believing this Leafs team is going to find a way to bring in a truly impactful player if they let Mitch Marner go, which brings me to my Sherwood Ford Giant question, Liam. Sherwood Ford the Giant, you know him, you love him. We're going to be on location at some point this week out at Sherwood Ford the Giant, but their Nation Ballet service means you never have to visit the dealership again for your routine car maintenance. Your hockey destination is Sherwood Ford the Giant, where it's hockey fans helping hockey fans. Book in, get your routine maintenance done. They drive to wherever you are, pick up your vehicle, do the work, and drive it right back to you. Liam, here's your Sherwood Ford Giant question, 2-parter. Would you like to see the Oilers go get Mitch Marner as a free agent? Do you think there's a world where the Oilers get Mitch Marner as a free agent?
Would I like to see it? Yeah, I would. I would take any like 100-point player on the Edmonton Oilers. Like, why would you not? You know what I mean? I think the Oilers have a good enough culture that they can bring in basically any player in the league and he will work for them in the culture side of things. Maybe not always on ice, but you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Can they afford him? Probably not, because I would imagine he's going to want like 12, 13 million. But they did try and get Mikko Rantanen at the deadline. That is a legit thing. Obviously, there was a bit of the rumors before, too, from, what was his name, Strickland, I think it was, who was saying, like, if Rantanen gets to the offseason, like, he wants to go to Edmonton. So I do think there could be some legit interest. I think the Oilers have a few things they need to sort out in-house first before they worry about Mitch Marner.
Yeah, listen, making the pieces work for Mikko Rantanen, yes. I would have entertained the idea at least and been like, okay, maybe that's worth sacrificing the bottom part of your roster because he's just such a difference maker. Rantanen, he's just too perimeter. He's not a driver. He's a high-end complementary player. And I even think the team that gives him 10, 11, 12 million dollars, I don't think they're going to feel like they're getting scorned at all because I think they're going to get a very productive player who out of Toronto and with the right mix will find a way to make an impact in the regular season in the playoffs. And he's a great player. He's going to be an Olympian next year. I think there's no doubt about that. I also do think people were throwing the Four Nations thing at me last night as I disagreed with this. He was bad early in that Four Nations.
Yes, he was.
He had a good final, which is funny because it's almost the inverse of what he does in Toronto, right? Where he's great early on, then he flames out at the end. But like, I don't know. He had a great final, but there was a reason he got pulled off McDavid's line for a big part of that tournament. The other side of why I don't want to see the Oilers do this is just because of how much they'd have to sacrifice. So I went and did some back of the napkin math here, Liam, and then Aaron, in a second, I'll ask you to flash up the lines, but just give me a moment here. Next season's cap picture for the Edmonton Oilers. Back of napkin math kind of stuff here. 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, and 2 goalies under contract gives them roughly, depending on who gets subtracted down to the minors to bring the roster to this size, gives them roughly $11 million in cap space, Liam, all right? They're pretty much going to have to put 10 of that towards Evan Bouchard in all likelihood. So let's just not argue about that. Let's just say it's 10 for Bouchard. So you have $1 million basically to add some forwards. And listen, you're probably going to want to bring back the roster I was looking at had Max Jones on there, but there was no Perry and no Connor Brown. So like you bury one of them, you bring back Perry for league man, you give Connor Brown another 1.3. And then again, you're finding a way to make things work a little bit here cap wise. But let's say the Oilers decide ahead of July 1st, they go, you know what? We want to make the Mitch Marner thing work. We're going to keep Bouchard. And like whoever was tweeting me last night about this, they could make it work for Rantanen. So why couldn't they make it work for Marner? So in order to get some cap space, who do you have to sacrifice? Well, let's start. You're going to trade Adam Henrique and Victor Arvidsson. And honestly, based off the season those guys are coming off of, you're maybe getting a pick back, but you're probably just dumping those guys for free because of the no movement clauses and just hoping they can go somewhere. So you dump those two and you replace them with league minimum players. Let's say in this scenario, again, you are dropping Henrique and Brown for nothing and then somehow getting both Perry and Brown for league minimum, all right? In that crazy world, which is very far-fetched, you've freed up about $5 million in cap space. So now with Bouchard signed and the right pieces subtracted and those moves, which again, we just agreed are far-fetched, you have about $6-7 million bucks, okay? Then you need to get rid of Evander Kane. I was going to say you buy him out, but again, we're doing blue sky fairy tale world where you trade him for nothing and replace him with, let's say Matt Savoy takes his spot on the roster, which will probably happen anyways. So you do that. Liam, you've still only freed up $10 million in cap space. That's not enough to get Mitch Marner in free agency unless he's taking a big discount. But like, you are not getting, you could sacrifice Henrique and Arvidsson and Kane off this roster, bring in replacement level guys or league minimum guys, I should say, and you still do not have enough money for Mitch Marner. But let's say Mitch Marner does sign for the $10 million you have found a way to save, and Brown is league minimum and Perry is league minimum. This is the lineup you're basically looking at next season. You could swap Thomasek or Hudson for Savoy. Hand up, missed Matt Savoy on this. So you swap Thomasek or Hudson, you put Savoy on your third line. So you're rocking a top six for the podcast listeners. That's McDavid centering Marner and Hyman. I like that line. That's a good line. That's a great line. Who am I kidding? Draisaitl would center Nugent, Podkolzin. Okay. Janmark would center, let's call it Savoy and Brown. That's mildly concerning, I would say, as a third line. Don't love that. Your fourth line would then be Kapanen centering Thomasek and Perry, and Hudson's your 13th forward. Like, dude, your bottom six right here is depleted, is it not?
Yeah, this team sucks. I would not. I would not be doing it. I like Mitch Marner. I think he's a good player, and I would take 100-point players on this team all day. But it just doesn't work. The others don't have enough money to do it. Even with the cap going up the year after, I don't know what even the numbers would be or what it's supposed to go do that. Like, obviously, we get a little bit better and they could add a few more players. But why are you wasting so much money to go and do that? You can just keep all those players you said. Just
Yeah,
keep him
you could
all.
just
Like,
keep
I
all those.
keep Kane for another year. Like, we'll see what he's about. Obviously, we'll see. But he's obviously played really, really well. Marner's just not worth it with what you would have to move on from. If the Oilers had the money, I would do it. They don't.
Totally.
So there you go.
Totally. Yeah, and listen, like if Darnell Nurse was signed properly in the past, and if Evan Bouchard was signed properly, and you didn't have to pay him 10 because you did the right thing and did the 6x6 or 7x7 a couple years early, like then maybe you could chart a path to it. But like without Marner, Aaron, you can flash up lineup number 2, which again doesn't even have Savoy in this lineup. But you go Nuge, McDavid, Hyman. We know that line works. Podkolzin, Kane, Draisaitl. Maybe it ends up being Savoy up there instead, and you're sheltering guys down again. I kind of messed up not putting Savoy on these. That's on me. But then you have Henry, Garvinson, Brown, Janmark with one of Hudson or Tomasek with Perry, or you have neither of Hudson or Tomasek in your lineup because you have Savoy, or you've brought back Kapanen at league minimum for another year. Like, again, these two lineups compared to each other without Matt Savoy in either one, it's very clear to me which one wins you more hockey games. And I get that Mitch Marner would instantly be the Oilers' third or fourth best forward behind McDavid, Draisaitl, and maybe, no, he's better than Hyman. He'd be their third best forward, without a doubt.
Yeah.
The juice just isn't worth the squeeze when you look at the drop-offs you have to take everywhere else in this lineup. It's just not. Again, we're seeing right now, Liam, the Oilers are in such a good spot because their depth is outscoring the other team at an insane clip. Why would you want to sacrifice that and move out a bunch of good depth guys? And I get that Arvidsson is healthy scratch right now and not helping you contribute and all that. But like, again, you would have to be dumping guys for nothing, praying guys like Brown and Henry or Brown and Perry come back at league minimum. I don't see this Marner thing. I don't understand. Like, the people who are throwing it out there are just shooting from the hip so people pay attention to them on Twitter, I think. Like, there's just no logic behind thinking the Oilers could do that.
I think it's just triggered from the Rantanen and stuff and the sign of trying to get such a star player. But also the part of Rantanen too that I think people are forgetting is if the Oilers were trying to trade for him, they could have got him at 50% retained, which is what, $2 million? Wouldn't it end up being something ridiculous?
So it would have
like
fit
that?
in easily this year.
Totally. And then you figure out the extension and go from there. But you already, they're very different players too. One's a cup champion, one's a guy that everyone's pissed off about in the chat that we're even talking about. So
Yep. All right. Okay. There we go. We're good. We addressed the Marner thing. Anyone who wanted us to talk about it is happy. The idea is that it's a very stupid idea for the Oilers to try and pursue. Let's get back into
where do you think he will go? Where do you think he's a fit for him? Just to close it out. People keep saying, I see the Islanders a lot, the Ducks maybe.
Can I throw an absolute wild card at you?
Vegas, LA.
He's coming to Alberta.
Calgary. Oh, he's Red Day again, a team. Calgary. That was
Listen,
a good one.
Calgary. Can I give you Calgary's cap numbers here?
Quickly,
$27.7 million. That's with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players under contract, 10 forwards, a full D-core under contract, and one goalie, but you just need a vet backup for Dustin Wolf. So you basically, with that $27 million, need to sign the equivalent of 2 or 3 players. They got to give Zari a contract, but like, let's say Connor Zari takes you, let's say they go long-term with him and they do the Coronado deal where it's like $6.5 million, then you could still give Marner $12 million and you still have $8 million left over to go get a goalie and go get a 13th forward. You could get, if you wanted to, you could get Marner and another impact defenseman on the market. Like, you could make the money work in Calgary if you were to bridge Connor Zari. You could get Marner and Gavrikov if you wanted to and still have a little bit to play with.
That should be a really good ad for them, I think. Just to kind of keep for goodness, pushing into the playoff spot. There you go. I muted myself for a little bit there.
Which I think they want to do, and they kind of said they want to do it on free agency. They also have an extra first-round pick in each of the next 2 drafts. So I could see a world, man, where they like sign Marner, go get a free agent defenseman like a Gavrikov or a Provorov, and then they go trade one of those next first-round picks and get another forward in the mix. And honestly, I think it'd be the right play for the Calgary Flames. You don't have a high-end prospect coming in through your system that's viewed as some shining light, although I love Zane Parekh, but I'm saying, like, they don't have a franchise caliber player, like and they're not going to be bad enough because of Dustin Wolf. He is probably the franchise caliber player. They're not going to be bad enough with Dustin Wolf to ever be a bottom 5 team. So your only choice is to really double down and keep going the free agency route.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job there, and this would be a good move.
Yep. Okay, let's continue along with the show. Let's get to sounds in the room, Aaron. I sent a couple over that I want to get to. It's brought to you by our friends at Tourism Jasper. From hiking trails, paddling wild waters, or sharing laughs by the fire, happiness finds you in Jasper. It's open, vibrant, and ready to welcome you back for more unforgettable moments. Your best summer memories aren't behind you. They're waiting for you this summer in Jasper. Plan your trip at jasper.travel/summer. So a few things here for sounds in the room. Let's start. I like this one from, let's go Stuart Skinner first. What did Skinner had some things to say about the Oilers resting and getting ready for this matchup?
7 games in Vancouver, so it was tough. It was a quick turnaround. Have a bit more time to kind of catch your breath this time around. How does that change maybe the complexion going into the series?
Yeah, I mean, it just helps us feel a little bit more well rested. I know, obviously, especially through playoffs, you get some banged up bodies, you get bruises. In Stetcher's case, a couple pucks to the nose, but he can't catch a break. But so it just gives us some more time just to, let our bodies heal, let our minds rest for a little bit, watch some hockey. Obviously, give us some time to pre-scout Dallas now.
There you go. Talking about the time off, which is a massive difference. If you remember back to last year, Liam, they ended Game 7 against Vancouver. Then it was like, all right, quick, everybody back. You had to fly home to Edmonton, pack up, boom, right down to Dallas for Game 1. Like, I'm fascinated to see how this Oilers team comes out with rest and a full pre-scout.
Yeah, and people see it as a bit of a disadvantage sometimes not being on the ice, but I think in the playoffs, any day you can get off is such a huge advantage to just recover. And luckily the Oilers have been relatively healthy, knock on wood, so far through this, besides Ekholm. But again, like now we're seeing Ekholm get an extra few days to skate because the Oilers just aren't playing games. It's really positive.
Totally. Chris Knobloch spoke about the forward groups a little bit and matching up against the Dallas Stars.
They're playing a well-coached team with great special teams, but they did run 11-7 the last couple of games. How important is it for you to stick rolling the 4 lines over like you did all the way through the overtime the other night in Vegas?
Whether they go 11 forwards or 12, their depth is good. Like they've got a lot of good forwards that can play more minutes, and if they do go 11, certainly there's a lot of forwards that they can double shift. So it's not that they're playing shorthanded there at all. I think our strength is our forwards also. We have a lot of depth, and they can play in certain situations and against other teams' top lines. And I think we had a lot of success in the first 2 rounds because of the contributions from all our forwards. And I think it's important that if we're going to have success going forward, that we have to have the same mindset.
The Oilers' depth has been absolutely huge so far in these playoffs. You've heard us talking about it ad nauseum for a while now. Let's wrap up. Connor McDavid talking about this matchup. Again, the rematch against the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, as good as Dallas is, we're a good team too. And we've beaten 2 really good teams in LA and Vegas. And as you said, our 5-on-5 game's been really, really good. Specialty teams will need to get going here. Power play starts with the power play. Obviously, power play's got to find a way to be a factor in the series, and we will. Yeah.
There you go. A couple of good teams getting set. Connor McDavid. He's always so just calm, matter of fact.
Yeah, I love the way he answers questions. Yep, that's my answer.
Good team. Yeah, they're a good team.
Way
Special
better.
teams will be big. Yeah, we're better. We're better. They're good. I mean, we're better. Attaboy, Connor. Okay, Liam, I tasked you to get some stats and facts for me ahead of this series. They're brought to you by Star Mechanical, one of Edmonton's biggest locally owned. Oh, you got the notepad. One of Edmonton's biggest locally owned and operated plumbing and heating businesses. They've been working in the community for more than 20 years, and they work with top local award-winning home builders on their new homes. They don't have expensive rates. They focus on being cost-conscious as they can be for their customers. StarMechanical.ca. Liam, what do you got for me? Give me some stats and facts, buddy. Let's go.
These are stats and facts, folks.
There's
look at that.
Arrows. There's numbers. Holy.
All right, here we go. The Dallas Stars are averaging 2.55 goals per game for themselves. That is fewer than the Ottawa Senators, Minnesota Wild, Colorado Avalanche, and St. Louis Blues, obviously all eliminated in the first round. Duchesne, Robertson don't have a goal yet. Jamie Benn, Dadonov, Mason Marchment, Sam Steele all have 1 goal each. Jamie Benn also -6 so far in the playoffs. Okay, Dallas is the lowest scoring team left. like I said, averaging 2.55 goals against per game. The Oilers, they're averaging the second most goals per game, 3.91. Okay. Power play, very good for the Dallas Stars. Special teams overall, very, very good. Right now, the Dallas Stars have a power play percentage of 30.8%. There you go. I knew I was missing
Third in
something.
the league, I think.
Didn't write that part down. It's very high. It's
It's
very good. Round 1 against Colorado, it was 30%. Round 2 against Winnipeg, it was 30.3%. So it got better. Penalty kill was 86.4% round 1, 85.7% in round 2. Now, I know what you're thinking, Liam, what did this look like last season going into the series? Well, I'll tell you. Last season, they had a power play percentage of 29%. However, their penalty kill stunk at 69.5%. So a big improvement. So for this far this season, almost 20% up on the year. So what that tells me is if their power play is clicking, it's the top guys that are going, which adds up to all those depth players who Noblock said, like, they are good players. And I don't want to take that away from them. They're just not producing like they should be. Okay. Another thing I looked at as well. Save percentage. Goals against. So Jake Ottinger, obviously a good goalie. This season, he actually has a higher save percentage at 0.919% than last season, which was 0.918 save percentage.
Correct.
But he is averaging almost 3 goals against per game, where last season it was 2.38 goals against per game. So weird how that is improved.
Can I tell you why? Because the Stars
Go
are
ahead.
defending worse. The Stars are defending worse in front of him. So he's making
Yeah.
the same percentage of saves, but he's giving up more goals.
I think I looked. I think he's faced about 40 more shots this season at this point than he did last season, and they played the same amount of games, which is 13. The Stars have been shut out 3 times so far in the playoffs. Twice by Winnipeg, once by the Colorado Avalanche, which is the most. The 2 teams that have been shut out twice this season, Toronto, and obviously the Vegas Golden Knights, who Edmonton shut out twice. Tampa Bay, Washington, and Florida are the only other teams to be shut out. Mikko Rantanen, the star of the show. In the series against Winnipeg, 3 goals game 1, they won. Game 2, no points. Game 3, 3 points. Game 4, 1 point. Game 5 and 6, 0 points. He's streaky. He's a good player, but he's streaky. So there you go. That's my evaluation of the Dallas Stars. They're good. They've got some good players, and if they can turn it on, they could beat the Oilers, but they're not turning it on, and the Oilers will beat them in 5 games.
I love it. I love it, Liam. Stats and facts from our boy Liam. I love that you got
go.
the notebook out on a holiday Monday, really grinding for us. I was going to do, so we obviously have another show tomorrow, and then this series doesn't get going until Wednesday. So I was originally going to do one big take for our friends at RV Easy, but I'm going to tease it. All right. I'm not going to give you all the numbers, but I'm going to tease it. One big take brought to you by RV Easy. Your motorhome or travel trailer isn't just for getaways. It's a moneymaker on wheels. Most RVs sit parked in the driveway. With RV Easy, you can rent out your motorhome or travel trailer and earn over $20,000 this year. They're founded, owned, and operated by Canadians, and they take care of everything, including full insurance coverage provided for every rental. And best of all, you choose when to rent, and you set your own pricing. List your RV today at RVEasy.com. That's RVEZY.com. RV Easy. Rent your RV. Make money easy. Liam, I'm just going to give you the tease, and I'll let you stew on it for 24 hours. Then tomorrow I'll give you my research. I think the Oilers should be loading up McDavid and Draisaitl for this series.
Interesting. Because of how they've struggled to defend? Or because of how well the offense has been going for Edmonton? A bit of both, I guess.
Oh, you combine it all, and you get a delicious blend, Liam. Dallas doesn't have great depth. More on that tomorrow. Dallas doesn't have a blue line that can defend all that well outside of Harley and Heiskanen. Like, there are some numbers on that Dallas blue line that look absolutely wonky. And listen, a part of this too is like, you need to see how things go in the series. Because listen, the Dallas players, like you said, Liam, if I'm going to sit here and look at the Oilers power play and be like, they are due to play better because of how much talent they have, then you also have to give Dallas the potential for that benefit, where it's like, hey, Jamie Benn, Matt Duchene, Tyler Seguin, all these guys, Mason Marchment, they're not going to be this bad for the entire playoffs if Dallas goes on a run. Like, the idea that they could wake up is not far-fetched at all. Also, Miro Heiskanen looking better and better. That's a big game changer for this Dallas team. He's healthy and he's getting more and more effective. But if they're loading up Heiskanen and Harley, there's something to expose there. And the Oilers have a secret weapon second line, Kane, Nugent, Hyman, that was unreal
Very
together
well.
for a stretch. I don't know. I'll get more into the numbers tomorrow, but that's a little tease on my one big take for RV Easy. Liam, let's get, because again, we've done 50 minutes and it's just you and I from home today. So, I mean, I want to save some stuff for tomorrow and we got to continue previewing this series. I think we'll have Louie. Believe we might. I'm going to text Doobie and see if Doobie wants to do tomorrow with us as well. So maybe we'll get a double dip. But let's get to what's trending, Liam. Let's wrap up the show on a little loose, light note. It's brought to you by Garage Superstore. Garage upgrades and accessories made easy. They've got everything you need to capture, organize, transform, and maximize your space. Even 6 full-size garages at their showroom, so you can walk through real setups and envision just how good everything would look like in your garage. Storage solutions, cabinets, vehicle hoists, storage racks. Maximize your space and efficiency with Garage Superstore. Shop online or in-store. 3407 Calgary Trail Northwest, South Edmonton, or garagesuperstore.ca. Liam, a whole bunch of things to get to in what's trending, but can I give you one first? It caught my eye while I'm watching the show. A selfie posted to Twitter. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. By who? Oh, what the heck? I did not see this. Oh, that's a nice picture. That's my dad. My daddy's back in England, seeing my granddad there, so he grabbed some Canadian, I guess, whilst they were at the airport there too. So that is a nice picture.
It's a very nice picture. Look at it. Wait, look. Now we got 3 generations of Horribins on the screen at once.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, shout out to your dad and grandpa watching along on the show from England. Hopefully they stayed around long enough to see this shout out.
Yeah, I hope so. It's what would it be? I think it's 8 o'clock. I think it's 7 hours ahead, something like that. But that's a cool one. I didn't see that picture. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone back in England. I'm Tyler, by the way. Speaking of what's trending, Jack and Louie aren't doing round 3. It's going to be Chris Cuthbert and Craig Simpson. Gino is sticking around as the reporter for this one. And I know we are upset about this as Oilers fans, but Liam, this was expected. You knew if Edmonton was going to be the last Canadian team standing. This is how this stuff works. This is written in guys' contracts that the A squad, which is Cuthbert and Craig Simpson, they are the top national duo for Sportsnet. They're going to get the series with the most eyeballs on it. And listen, this isn't breaking news. There are going to be more people watching Edmonton, Dallas, and Canada than there will be watching Florida and Carolina. So I know we are sad. I know we were upset that we don't get Jack and Louie on the TV calls anymore. But I don't think there's reason to be outraged. This is very predictable. It happens. And listen, from the perspective of the national audience, I can understand why Sportsnet isn't putting the Oilers broadcast crew on this call. Like, it does make sense. As sad as I am and as bad as I want Louie on that thing, it makes sense, Liam.
Yeah, it's expected, like you said. It's the one downfall of Toronto not advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals is we don't get Jack and Louie anymore. I'm glad they're not sending Louie to some random, remember last year, I think they sent him to Carolina, New York or something like that, wasn't it? It's like, why are you doing that? So, hey, maybe we get Louie twice a week now. Who knows?
Yeah, Louie, if you're not doing anything, we'll talk to him tomorrow. You know what? Let's put him on the spot tomorrow so he can't say no to us on the air. Yeah, that's a smart way to handle that with Louie.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, shout out to Louie and Jack. They were unbelievable. I love that we finally got them in the playoffs here on the Sportsnet calls. But again, they're going with the A squad. It's all good. I'm seeing it a little bit in our YouTube. Listen, I think the public, this is going to sound, no, it's going to sound pretentious and media-y of me. I don't think the public's great at identifying who are good and bad play-by-play broadcasters, if you know what I mean. Like, I just see, and I mean this from a point of, I'm seeing the comments right now where it's like, Cuthbert's a Leafs homer. Why does Simpson hate the Oilers? If you go ask a Leafs fan, what do you think of Chris Cuthbert and Craig Simpson? Most of them can't stand them because they go, oh, they hate the Leafs, man. Sportsnet hates the Leafs. I saw, and this isn't to take a shot at her, but Rachel Dory was talking on Twitter about how unfair it is for the Toronto Maple Leafs that they never have a regional broadcast. You know that? They don't, it's just TSN and Sportsnet covering the games. They never get a regional TV broadcast like all the other fan bases. It's unfair. And it's like, the national media is your regional broadcast. Like, again, it's funny just to see the perspectives in and out of market of a lot of these media and play-by-play guys. Like, if you were to ask an Oilers fan, do you like when Jim Houston did the games? They'd be like, no, he's a Leafs homer. He's a Leafs homer. Leafs fans hate that guy. They don't like Chris Cuthbert because they think they're anti-Leafs. It's confirmation bias is my point.
I just like, I don't really listen. Like
Yeah.
it's not something I really pay attention to at all. Like, I don't care. Like, just I love Jack and Louis. Like, I don't want that to come across wrong. And like, I think Chris Cuthbert does a lot of good stuff as well. Obviously, he has the golden goal call, and Craig Simpson played for the Oilers. Like he I don't think he hates
loves
the Edmonton
Edmonton.
Oilers. Yeah, like I think they'll do a really good job. I also remember when Chris Cuthbert would do the CFL games. I was like, the voice of the CFL was Chris Cuthbert for me, and then I saw it became the hockey one. I was like, why are they doing this? I didn't know everything before because it's before my time in Canada. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really rank them. I think they're just all good at their jobs.
Yeah, and like if you're sitting there being like, this guy hates, and Lance says it perfectly. If you think a broadcaster hates your team, they're probably just being a bit of an unbiased broadcaster. Like they're supposed to point out flaws in your team and compliment your team and do the same for the other team and just call it how they see it. It's kind of like when people say about me, they're like, oh man, Tyler hates the Oilers. I don't know why he's an Oilers fan. Then you get people tweeting me all the time being like, oh my God, Tyler's just such an Oilers homer. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe that means you just have good and bad takes and you're objective about the team in a sense. Whatever. Anyways,
I'm an Oilers homer. I love the Oilers and I hate every other team in the league. Please label me as a homer.
The schedule release for Oilers and Stars. I love 6 o'clock Mountain Time starts on the weekdays, Liam. That's good for me. That's good for my sleep schedule. I'm going to be getting my 11 hours in a ton during this playoff series. I hate Sunday at 1 o'clock. That is stupid, stupid, stupid. It's so dumb. If it was at 3 o'clock, I would have been fine. 3 o'clock Mountain, sure. 1 o'clock Mountain is dumb. It's giving the American audience what they want without giving Canadian fans what they deserve. And I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like it at all either. But could be a great barbecue day on Sunday. Great time to have some friends over, flip some burgers, roll a couple of hot dogs. Maybe you get a little crazy, put a couple of chicken kebabs on the grill. I don't know what you're into, but I'm trying to be optimistic about this if you're not going to the game. That's what you could be doing. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of excited for it. But it's a quick turnaround from game 2. I think if there was a gap in between, I'd be more for it. But that is the one thing I don't like.
Like, am I going to make the most of it? Yes. Am I going to have a shower beer at 11 a.m. while I get ready to go watch the Oilers at Rogers Place? Absolutely, Liam. If this was a road game, maybe would have even been less pissed because it's like, you know what? The game's in the States. They can do whatever they want. And then you could have, had friends over, barbecue, TV on the patio. Let's go. The fact that this is a home game at Rogers Place makes me mad, but let's make the most of it. Let's have a good time. Let's cheer hard. And maybe there'll be something cool about the Oilers, like winning 6-1. The building's just rocking. Then you walk out and it's like 3:30 on a Sunday afternoon. I can get behind that, but I still just think giving the Americans, the TV audience in America, whatever they want, because you think that's weak sauce to me. I don't know. We're fans of this team. We deserve the games in prime time. I will say, for all the Oilers fans who watch this show from crazy ass time zones all over the world, all over Eastern Canada and stuff, I'll give you this one. I won't bitch about it again, but come on.
I know Oilers Nation Germany is happy about this. My friends Jack and Danny back in England who watch the Oilers games when they came are happy about this. So we'll give them, they get one game. That's the one game they've been allowed to have this entire run. I know my friend Jack, I was talking to him. He was supposed to be at a music festival this weekend for that game. Sold his ticket so we could watch the game on Sunday. So there you go.
Hopefully they give him a lot to cheer for.
Yes.
What else? Oh, I also had in What's Trending, because we always like to mix in some random stuff. There was an immaculate inning in Major League Baseball the other day. And just as a baseball nerd, this is so satisfying to watch, Liam. I think Aaron has the video. We can kind of run here, but an immaculate inning, for those who don't know, is when a pitcher strikes out the side in exactly 9 pitches. So he throws 9 strikes and strikes out every batter. And this from Canadian Cal Quantrill was absolutely beautiful. It is so satisfying to watch. The numbers behind it, it's the 116th immaculate inning in Major League history and the 100-plus years of Major League Baseball. And this happens, if you were to average it out, once every roughly 36,000 innings, you'll see an immaculate inning.
Wow. I didn't know what this was until you showed me the video before. I also didn't know this guy was Canadian, so that makes it pretty cool. This is Tampa Bay and who?
Cal Quantrill pitches for the Miami Marlins.
Interesting. So they play in a warehouse, but where do the Tampa Bay Rays play?
Well, remember the hurricane blew the roof
Yeah.
off their stadium, so they're playing in the New York Yankees minor league ballpark.
Of course. So is that in Florida? I'm guessing most teams play
Yeah.
down there, right?
It's in Florida, yeah.
Is it good? Is it good? I would assume the Yankees have a pretty high-end facility.
I mean, it's still a minor league ballpark, but yeah, it's a bit of a joke. Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, what could they do? It's the hurricane. Like a hurricane blew your roof off. You're out of options.
They used to have another name, right? The Blue Rays. Is that right?
Devil Rays, Liam. Devil
Rays.
Mm-hmm.
There was one other thing I wanted to give a shout out to our friend Dylan Garner, who sent us a tweet. I think it was yesterday, saying that I can't believe my hometown of Vilna was mentioned so many times on the podcast. So shout out to Dylan. He's also the gentleman that sent us the picture of his plant in his office that he calls Jacques Plant, I think it was, or something like that. I'm trying to find it, but it's too far. But shout out Dylan. Thanks for listening in Vilna.
All right, let's wrap up the show, Liam, with just some quick bets for our friends at Bet365. Download the app today. Use the code NATION. Want to get on the action for the Stanley Cup Playoffs? Oh, Bet365 is an official partner of the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and they got you from game props, player props, totals, and money line. You can even bet on futures, and I got a couple for you. Whatever you bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup Playoffs must be 19 or older. Liam, my first one you're not going to like, all right?
All right.
Both series in the conference finals to go over 5.5 games is plus 120. Yay or nay?
Nay. The Oilers will end it sooner. Carolina are winning 7.
All right. The other one I have, Mikko Rantanen and Leon Draisaitl each to score 3 or more goals in the series, plus 170.
Ooh. It's a good one. Is there any other goal ones? I know you had a few of these last time that are standing out. I don't care what Dallas is doing. I'll be honest with you. Is there a couple of Oilers ones you've got for me?
So a couple Oilers ones. If you think Zach Hyman can get things rolling a little bit, he's plus 150 to score 3 or more goals in the series. So I don't hate that one. Evander Kane, the hat trick guy, plus 375 to score 3 or more.
Ooh.
I don't hate that one.
That's a great one.
What if? Oh, you can parlay them. Kane and Hyman each to go over a goal and a half, Liam.
Okay.
Parlayed together plus 235.
I like that.
I like it too.
Kane and Hyman to get what? Sorry, 2 or more?
Yeah, over 1.5.
That's lovely. That's good. I think Hyman, the power play needs to get going for Hyman to do something. 9% in the series isn't good enough, but you would imagine the power play starts to hit the ground running a little bit, which is why I would like the Draisaitl one too. Maybe throw Leon in there with his 3 goals.
Leon to go over 1.5 in that parlay because you have to keep it in the same goal bracket. It doesn't move it all that much because he's minus 600. But if you throw Bouchard in there, it brings it up to plus 903. So Bouch, Hyman, Kane all score 2 goals.
That makes sense. That's not even that crazy.
Let's do it. Squad ride.
All right, let's do it.
All
$3.
Right. Yeah, okay. Let's go. Let's go that much money and hit bet. And I gotta authenticate it. I'm doing this live on the air, Bet365. You better believe it. We are wagering
live
on the
television.
Oilers.
I've never been on live television before.
There you go. The squad bet is placed. Hyman, Kane, and Bouchard all to score 2 or more goals in the series, Liam, at plus 900. Let's go.
Can't wait. That'll hit at the 1 p.m. game.
Should I take the $2 cash out on my Stuart Skinner Conn Smythe trophy bet, or do I let that ride?
No, because he's gonna extend his shutout streak, and it'll shoot up to at least even money. Then you can cash out.
All right. Okay. That hour flew by, Liam. Good stuff.
It does. It always does.
Aaron,
you always say half an hour, and I never believe you.
I know we never actually keep it to half an hour. We had a lot to do today. Aaron, did you have fun? All right. Thanks, Aaron. Oh, there he is. Did you have fun, Aaron?
You're muted, Aaron.
You're muted.
I wasn't expecting you to throw to me right there. I was a little rushed right there. Boys, I'm having a great time.
You get a
coffee here? What'd you say?
Haircut?
Yeah, haircut. Fresh round 3. It was so nice having the weekend off. Ty, we talked about it. I feel rejuvenated, refreshed. I wish there was an Oiler game tonight. I will wait till Wednesday, but I'll be ready to go on Wednesday.
What are you doing tonight, boys?
Nothing.
Sick.
What am I doing? What day is it? Monday?
Monday.
I think I have to go buy a chair.
Well, I'm going golfing, so we're going to wrap up this show.
It doesn't look very nice out to be golfing today.
No.
Always
it
a good day to
doesn't.
golf.
True.
There you go.
I don't know.
All right. Good stuff. Everybody in the YouTube, tremendous. Tomorrow we'll have a couple of guests for you. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube if you're not already. Enjoy the rest of your holiday Monday, everybody, and we'll be back tomorrow, right back here at noon Mountain. Oil up.